Today marks my 32nd trip around the sun and in Instagram fitness years that pretty much makes me a geriatric lifter. I was gonna make a slick birthday edit, but quite frankly, I felt like I couldn't really top this one.
You should have heard bitches love cake.
So I decided that I was just going to talk to you instead about what it's like to train in your 30s versus what it's like to train in your 20s, and what is a good way to have like a long-term strategy when it comes to training. You see, 32 is kind of significant in my life because it officially marks 1 decade of consistent weight training and how I've managed to keep it up for this long. You see, I think a lot of people initially get into fitness in their late teens, early 20s for the purpose of building some aesthetics, looking good, being shredded, having some abs, maybe pop them biceps. And quite frankly, I think that this, especially if you're in your early 20s, is achievable for 99% of people. I think it plays such a big role in your 20s versus when you're heading into 30 and beyond, because there's such a massive paradigm shift in what your priority is. You see, aesthetics are very easy to motivate yourself with when you are younger and you're networking and part of your life is trying to create impressions to start building your life on, you know, like your friends, your co-workers, etc., etc. So you have this huge external motivation to look good. But as you head into your 30s, I kind of feel like this dwindles a little bit and becomes less relevant. That's why you see so many people like letting go in their 30s, right? They might be married, they might have a house, they might have a stable job, they have all that stuff set up. So they're no longer trying to peacock to really gain anything. So if you're a person that did train or you've never trained, what makes me different from you? Well, I was an egotistical 20-year-old. I was after the abs. I wanted to look like Brad Pitt from Fight Club, and I kind of ended up looking like this, which I think was close enough. But what I can tell you is, for most people, aesthetics isn't gonna motivate you long-term unless you're an egotistical maniac that refuses to grow up. No matter what Instagram tells you, life isn't all about looks. I think it's important as a long-term training strategy to have goals that supersede how others perceive you. Like, I know I have a bias towards strength training. I've always been driven by like, get stronger, put more numbers up, and constantly chase improvement. And it might not be that for you. For instance, my dad's a cyclist and he does these ridiculously long races around Taupo and stuff that I could think of nothing worse, but each to their own, whatever drives you. But I think as you head into your 30s, it is super important that you look yourself in the mirror and you ask a question. That question being, is fitness going to be part of my life? You see, up until about the age of 30, everything's up in the air. We're still figuring out what the hell we're doing with life. And while you probably don't have all things figured out, I definitely do not, there is a level of stability to your life. Your habits are formed, you probably have a stable base, maybe you have a career, maybe you own a house if you don't live in Auckland. But at the end of the day, your life has some form of structure to it. In your 20s, you have the ability to put things off because you're still putting these Lego pieces together. But now is the point that you choose whether or not that Lego block fits in your little castle you've built. God, that's an awful analogy. I think your 30s mark the time when you can't keep saying you'll do it later. Your 30s mark the point in which you become an actualized person, and if you're a person that's been kicking the can down the road in looking after your health, at this point you might be lying to yourself about whether or not you're gonna do anything. I don't say that to scare people. As a natural lifter, I've never looked extraordinary. I've never been extraordinarily strong. But one thing I can tell you is it is paying off dividends when I am seeing the difference between myself and some other people my age. The sign of age and physical neglect become more and more apparent. I've never been one that's used scaremongering tactics to try self-fitness, and I'll continue not to do that. But if you have an itch, an urge, and you know in the back of your mind that you should be looking after yourself better, if you're around my age, you probably need to start doing something about it. Because the other little thing that I can let you in on in training in your 30s is it's harder. My recovery takes longer. Everything is slower. I don't have the testosterone that I had when I came into this, and it's just dropping year by year. If you want to make significant change, now is the time to do it. So if my Instagram's ever inspired you to want to lift, and you want to give me a birthday present, just start doing something. Anyway, I'm now gonna go enjoy my birthday in what is hopefully the second to last day of lockdown in Auckland. But if anything I have said resonates with you, has maybe even hit a nerve, maybe even got you a little bit riled up, feel free to reach out. My passion is imparting strength training advice to other people. It's never a problem. So yeah, slide into my DMs. Otherwise, have a good day.
Get it!